How many javelins does it take to change a light bulb? Apparently many in the same spot. Oh, don't worry about the jerky footage, though. That's just Anthem. It annihilates your CPU whenever you try to do anything else on your PC but play it. Hi everybody, it's Az here from HeelvsBabyface. As always, all the articles that I refer to today will be linked in the description box down below. Thoroughly advise that you go check them out in their entirety, especially something I'm going to be referring to in a moment. But I just want to start off this video by covering some old ground, but ground that us as gamers are very familiar with. Particularly last year, there were a couple of words which got associated with us gamers. We were toxic and we were entitled. And who called us toxic and entitled? Well, it was games media. And why were games media calling us toxic and entitled? Well, because gamers refused to accept the garbage that was being thrown at us by major publishing companies in an effort to milk us for every single penny that we got. Heaven forbid we actually thought that we deserved money's worth for the hard-earned cash that we paid for the product. And it's very important that I refer to the shill media, because we're going to see exactly the kind of person who they're defending today. And as you can see from the title and the thumbnail of the video, and I promise you, that is a legit quote. And we're going to go into that. It just shows how these people will sink to this sort of level. They'll sink to the level of the major corporate that they're trying to pander to, so they get their little trips to the HQ, so they get their little gifts sent to them, so they get their preview copies of games, so they don't have to fork out any money, so they don't actually have to personally contribute to the gaming industry itself. No, they just sit back and they call the people that do contribute to the industry, the people that do put their hard-earned money into it, and not just one game. We're not just talking $60 a year. Game after game after game after game that's then microtransactioned and monetized through the wazoo. No, they turn around and then call those people toxic and entitled. Well, we're going to speak about a real toxic person today and a real entitled person today. And that's Bobby Boy. Oh, Bobby Boy. Yeah, so I'm going back to an article here, and as you can see, this was published on the 18th of February. Wait a minute, as it's just the 16th today, 2010. So I'm taking us back 9 years now to this article from GameSpot, which will be linked in the description box down below. And I just want to start off with this opening paragraph here. During 45-minute presentation today at the Deutsche Bank Securities Technology Conference in San Francisco, Activision Blizzard CEO Robert Kotick covered a substantial amount of ground. For one, the executive explains how he expects Activision games, and it goes on to specific to Guitar Hero, to bypass consoles altogether. So he turned up and he was talking about how essentially consoles are going to be pushed to one side, and it's all about streaming and stuff like that. And he's very particular about Guitar Hero. Now, I just want to touch briefly on Guitar Hero. Guitar Hero, if you're unaware, folks, it's a franchise which has been absolutely run into the ground and is currently destroyed by Activision. Because they just saturated the market with it. They put out game after game, pack after pack after pack, monetization, and they just drove people away with the game. No evolution in the title. No, just the same thing, just keep throwing it at them. Keep throwing it at them until they stop paying money. Guitar Hero run into the ground. And the last version being an absolute joke. And recently, what is it called? Guitar Hero Universe or something? They've had to give refunds back to people because their library of 500 odd songs has now been cut down to something like 60. because they've lost the license for 440 of them, or they're refusing to pay the license for 440 of them. So they're no longer going to support that. So that anyone who bought it from, I think it was January 2018 through to now, have the ability to actually get a refund from Activision for that. Isn't that just great? Another franchise ran into the ground. But I want to go down here because it's a very specific chat about Guitar Hero and his vision about consoles and how consoles. He was right about consoles in as much as he said that at least going to be 2 years away, and I think it ended up being like 4 years away, 3 or 4. I think like 3 or 4 years away, pretty much. So he was right about the release of the next generation of console, your PS4s and your Xbox Ones and such. But I want to get down here. I want to get right down here because this is just absolutely unbelievable stuff. So, here we go. We're going to go into this section here. You have studio heads who, for 5 years, didn't know the difference between a balance sheet and a bed sheet. Wah, wah, wah. Who are now arguing allocations in our CFO's office pretty regularly, Kotick said. He later said, we have a real culture of thrift. The goal that I had in bringing a lot of the packaged goods folks into Activision about 10 years ago was to take all the fun out of making video games. If that sounds like it would create a corporate culture that isn't all sunshine and hugs, then it's mission accomplished for Kotick. The executive said that he has tried to instill into the company culture skepticism, pessimism, and fear of the global economic downturn, adding, we are very good at keeping people focused on the deep depression. Now, to put everything into full context, because you could say, well, this is taken out of context. This is the question that was actually asked. What do you think the retailers' willingness these days is to hold inventory on the video game side? Are they building positions today, or are they still very reluctant and very careful of how they are buying? To which Bobby Boy replied, I don't think it's specific to video games. I think that if you look at how much volatility there is in the economy and dependent upon your view about macroeconomic picture, and I think we have a real culture of thrift. And I think the goal that I had in bringing a lot of the packaged goods folks that we brought into Activision 10 years ago was to take all the fun out of making video games. I think we definitely have been able to instill the culture, the skepticism, and pessimism and fear that you should have in an economy like we are in today. And so, while generally people talk about the recession, we are pretty good at keeping people focused on the deep depression. Monies. So, his idea of making video games is to take the fun out of making them. Take the fun out of making video games. And this is exactly the kind of stupidity that we have right now, because this is what we're seeing, and this is why there is such an upturn by gamers right now. I say kind of like a revolt almost in how we're perceiving the gaming industry, because they're making games for shareholders. They're not making games for gamers. And I've been over this ground multiple times, and this marries up with Bobby Boy's own statement right here, because they're not making a game to be fun and interesting. They're making a game to be monetized. They're making a game to be taken advantage of, to have it exploit the customer base who is the potential target audience for it, to appease the shareholders. But hey, that's not toxic as hell, is it? No. That's just business. That's just business. Now, we know, I reported a couple of days ago, and a few other people have actually put stuff out there, that the details for how much money they earned in 2017, 5 executives Activision Blizzard, the Activision Blizzard company owned. 5 executives between them took home $70 million, with Bobby Boy taking home approximately $24 million. Now, I've found that the 2016 figures for Bobby, and our little soldier right here, in 2016, he took just a meager $33 million away. So well, that's not bad. What, 57 odd million in 2 years? You know, it's not as if that's going to have any effect on the company if he can have that good profits. Well, apart from the 800 bloody people that he fired, and then had the gall to have the disingenuous term when he said, oh, this was in the top 5 hardest things that I've had to do. Bollocks. You didn't lose a minute's sleep. You didn't blink an eyelid. You didn't care one bit. You're happy to take your money home. Don't care about anyone else. No, it's about getting you paid, getting your shareholders paid. Happy shareholders, happy stock price. Look where all the money's coming from. The stock awards. That's where all the money's coming from. Top 5 hardest things I've ever had to do. You're full of shit, Bobby. You're absolutely full of shit. Now, I don't think this is going to have too many legs, but I'm going to bring it up anyway. Game Workers Unite have tweeted out, appending 800 workers' lives while raking in millions in bonuses for you and your C-suit buddies isn't leadership, it's theft. Amen. Absolutely. 57 million in 2 years. And what did they do a few days ago? Sacked 800 people from Activision, from Blizzard Entertainment, and from King, so that these fatheads can get their millions upon millions upon millions. And then it goes on to say, we, the workers of Activision and their friends, have had enough. Join us in saying that it's time to hashtag fire Bobby Kotick. And it's already got my vote. 1.3k likes and 589 retweets. So if you want to support this, go over to @GameWorkers. But yeah, they go into his fees from last year. Oh, it was 28.5 million, not 26. Oh, you got another couple of million out of it as well, hey? So last year, 28.6. To go on the year before, 33. You know, no biggie. And then, of course, Dennis Durkin, the former CFO who left, who then got rehired to join as CFO of Activision. He took a 15 million signing on bonus, of course. Remember that? 3.8 million up front, and then another 11.2 million in stock options should he hit targets. So that's great. There's another 15 million to the execs there, and they go on, and they go on, and they go on. So yeah, I really do hope it gets traction. I'm not sure if it will, but I really do hope that it does. I don't have to go. We've all heard it about Iwata when Nintendo was going through terrible financial troubles, and he halved his salary. He halved his salary. And somebody asked him, why didn't you just lay off staff instead of halving your salary? And he said, what if I laid off staff? It would destroy morale for the people who remained. Because this is a knock-on effect. And therefore they wouldn't produce the quality of games that we want them to produce, because their heart wouldn't be in it, because their friends have been fired. So him and the directors as well. The directors, they didn't take 50%. I think they took like a 20% cut. But the rest of the directors, they all took pay cuts to keep the people on so the morale could stay high and they could work through. And Nintendo are back into profit again now. And God rest Iwata. God rest his soul. But Bobby Boy, nah. Bobby Boy wants his money. Fuck. It's disgusting. So while the games journalists out there are calling us toxic and entitled, the very people that they're shilling for are quite happy to sack 800 people so that they themselves can get them and the shareholders paid. I'm all worked up. I'm going to go for a walk. I hope you enjoyed the vid. At least found it interesting. If so, do drop it a like, comment, and subscribe and all that stuff. My social media links are in the description down below, and I'll be back with some more stuff. The ego, you see, I'm so flustered, couldn't even get my proper exit going. Hope you enjoyed the vid. If you did, do give it a thumbs up and also subscribe to the channel. Follow me on social media and Twitch for live streaming. Links, they're in the description box down below. And I'll be back with some more stuff very soon. You take care. Bye for now.